You all excited about AI? Can I see a show of hands? Clap. Oh, beautiful. Love it. Awesome. I'm assuming the rest of you haven't had any caffeine till now, right? Um, Here's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a huge amount of excitement around AI, but I'm also seeing a huge amount of fear around AI. I'm seeing both of these coexisting, and it's a beautiful place to be because that fear is driving that thing in the gut that's making you think harder, do things differently, discovering new ways to break glass, and getting all of you in this huge room. Wow, this room's grown from last year. No, the room's not grown. Room's same, but like the number of people have grown. You get what I mean, right? Okay, so I want to first address the elephant in the room. It's a big enough room, can accommodate a lot of elephants. I'm only going to address one of them. And that's the elephant of, will AI replace humans? And I want to make it very clear. Humans will be replaced by humans using AI. We are indispensable, folks. Accept it, realize it. There's just so much potential to what we can do, and we're not doing today. We're just teaching AI what we know today. We will use AI for good and for bad, unfortunately, but we will be at the helm. How many of you are old enough? I see a lot of gray hair. I see some people as old as me. Were here when technology came out and word processors came out and, oh, typing pools, oh, jobs are going to be lost. Technology is going to take all jobs away. No way. It created way more jobs than existed before. Please be ready for the same. Please be prepared that you will need new skill sets, new capabilities, new kind of jobs. I talk about with technology folks, till now they've been focusing on 1C, coding. Well, that won't be enough for tomorrow. You've got to get creative. You've got to get more collaborative, right? You've got to find a few more C's out there. I can't remember them, not enough coffee this morning. But there is a bunch of new things that you will have to learn, and new skill sets you'll have to learn for the new world. And I'm not the only one saying it. Everybody around, look at those charts. I'm not going to read those charts out to you, but every chart is talking about how a percentage of skill sets will change, a percentage of people, of jobs will get impacted. We're already seeing that with AI. We saw that with technology. Time for change. Time to embrace the change, right? Everybody's talking about it. 80% of US workforce, 10% of their tasks will get impacted. How many of you are in the corporate world? Awesome. That 10% will not flow to your bottom line. And I'll talk about that in a bit. Unless, and I'll talk about that in a bit. Yeah. A bunch of other numbers, a lot of research, which are talking about how there's a $3 trillion market. I'm going after only 10% of that, by the way. I'm not too ambitious, I'm easy, right? Let everybody feed themselves and their families and their companies, all good, right? The most important item on this particular screen that you're seeing is on the last column, is why look at the past. That every dollar of GDP will be influenced by AI. And I truly believe that. Just like everything you do today is influenced by IT, in the future, everything, every dollar spent will in some shape or form be influenced by AI. Okay, how many of you still think AI is hype? Raise of hands. All right, beautiful. It takes all kinds to make the world. I'm very happy. What I'm seeing is, with Gen AI coming in, more people are thinking Gen AI is hype, and AI is not hype because they're starting to see results. They're starting to see actual work getting done. They are actually seeing their kids doing their homework without needing help. So they're saying, okay, something's real out here. Yeah. Having a lot of fun, creating visuals, creating birthday cards. It's all happening at home. And what's happening because of that, it's forcing CIOs to reconsider what they were saying a year back. Oh, we're not going to give access to all of this in our offices. But no, the reality of today's world is if you're used to something at home, how can you not give access to the same level of capability in the office? So AI and Gen AI, more so with Gen AI and Gen AI are getting to be less and less of a hype, right? Is there some amount of hype attached to it? Absolutely will be. If it stops, Silicon Valley will disappear, right? That's where I live. I meet with startups all the time, and a lot of times you're wondering whether there's anything beyond the pitch, right? There is enough real stuff in there. It is not all hype. And you heard Dr. Najwa talk about how many areas it's getting applied in. Here's a real life example. One of the firms that we worked with, $10 billion industrial firm. Just in the assessment, we figured out we could get 150 million to the bottom line. And we are well in the way of delivering that. But the reality is you cannot deliver just using AI. A lot of times you hear, oh, we want to buy AI, we want to implement AI. No. AI is just an enabler. You have to work on the processes. You have to work on the change management. You can't give a chainsaw in the hands of a child. You have to make sure the child is old enough and the child knows how to use it, right? Sorry, I don't mean to get gory here, so I'm going to change the analogies. It's real, we're doing it. Here's a survey that we did for the top leaders, and we found out that 90% of organizations are now expecting that Gen AI will deliver results for them. And in the next 3 years, that's the other thing that they're looking at. There's a delay in the value realization. That is because we have to put a lot of guardrails in place. We have to make sure it's safe. We have to get over the risk and the fear, and that's natural. Despite saying all of that, I at least feel that Gen AI is evolving and AI is evolving way faster than I've seen anything else grow. And I know it because I've never studied so hard in my life. I've never worked so hard in my life. Any of my old classmates in the room, don't say that I never studied when I was in school. So, yeah. Okay. What we're also seeing is that organizations are at different stages of adoption. Some of them are just still exploring. Some of them are implementing stuff, trying things out, and others are scaling. I was in a conversation with the CEO of a local chain, not a local, a chain of hotels, a very respected chain of hotels and casinos here yesterday. And at the end of an hour, he and I agreed that he and his firm should not be the leader in this. They should be fast followers. They should wait and see what evolves, because there is no business dire need for them to go down this path. So they're going to wait and watch, and they're going to be fast followers. And that's absolutely fine. We've worked with firms where they want to do POC after POC. And I tell them, 1 second, you want to swim in the swimming pool in the back of your home, and then you think you're ready to swim across the Pacific Ocean? No, it doesn't work that way. You need a different set of capabilities, a different level of ability to scale, a different level of costs to be able to scale up your AI programs and your Gen AI programs, right? GPU costs are crazy. You can't just keep making calls and consuming so much more compute power till the cost of that comes down, which it will. Some of the common challenges that organizations are facing: the fear. the leadership support not being there. The technology people, the business people want to drive it. Leadership saying, I don't know whether I want to do this. Is this real? Is this hype? I'm not ready for that. You know, sometimes it's people who've got as much gray hair as me who are resisting. So what can I say? One bad incident triggers of 100 people to kind of stop wanting to go forward. One breach triggers 1,000 folks to say, I'm not ready, this technology is not ready. It's about trust and confidence. So a lot of work needs to go into building that. Awareness, education. I wish more people could see the pitch that Dr. Najwa made before me. What's the incentive? If I do this, I lose my job. Why should I do this? Why should I support this? Let me find more roadblocks to put. It's a common conversation, right? How do you create that awareness? How do you educate people? And how do you equip them for the future? Because that's our responsibility as leaders in organizations. Till we work on that, we'll keep facing these hurdles. And the community and the co-creation piece. It just can't be a set of people sitting in a room and ideating. The ideas are out there. You've got to figure out what the ideas are. You have to have a mechanism to prioritize and put the right kind of resources behind the right ideas and drive them to success. That's when ownership will come in. I've talked about Gen AI access. It's getting more and more pervasive because clients are realizing that they need to give that kind of environment at work. From a trust perspective, these are some of the numbers that we're finding. That 45% only are currently transparent to their employees about Gen AI and what they want to do with Gen AI. And therefore, a lot of skepticism continues to exist. Data continues to be a huge challenge. More than 40% are struggling with, we don't have the right data. How do we use these tools? You know, we keep talking about Gen AI, but it's just the tip of the spear. When you go do Gen AI or the top of the pyramid, you have to look at AI, you have to look at advanced analytics, you have to look at data, you have to look at everything underneath it. And clearly the definition of data has also changed. It's expanded. Things that you considered as contracts is now data today. Things you considered as purchase orders is data today, right? Sales material is data today. In terms of workforce, I talked about reskilling. 48% are redesigning their workforce to take advantage of the future, to get ready for the future, right? Let's talk about some of the key elements that are required for scaling, right? This is a honeycomb chart. Consultants, we've got to put some of these fancy charts up, so bear with me, yeah? I've talked about some of these. Modular architecture is another thing. You know, we can keep talking about LLMs, which model is better, which is worse. Reality, at scale, clients will be using more than one large language model. Because different models come with different capabilities, different benefits, different advantages. And the beauty of it is, as soon as you start, we've gone through this, oh, we want to do a benchmarking of different models. Great, as soon as the benchmarking is done, a new version gets released, and all of the work you've done is gone, right? So don't use that as an excuse to wait for things to happen. Don't use that as an excuse to say, oh, we'll make the one choice and then stick with it. Won't happen. When we started off, there was a lot of data gravity. Data gravity means all my data is in AWS, so I'll use whatever models AWS offers. My data is in GCP, so I will use stuff Palm and now Gemini and things like that. Azure, ChatGPT, great. That's all gone. That's all going. Because more and more clients are realizing that they need to use more than one model, and therefore they need to break this whole data kind of gravity piece. The other piece that's coming in for scaling is data sovereignty. Countries are saying that our data should not leave our country, right? As well as our compute should be done in our country. So we're going to see a lot of those shifts, and that's going to drive a lot of scale in different regions. You'll see it more in Asia and the Middle East, Europe, where a lot of the data push and the data kind of privacy and data security push is there, way more. We're very comfortable here in the US because everything for us is already here, right? So see more and more coming in. You're gonna see a lot of ecosystem players here who are gonna come up and talk. You're gonna see them out there. They're extremely valuable. No one company can solve for this. So everyone has to collaborate and partner to make this happen. And that's what you're seeing out in the market today. Every company is talking to everyone to say, what do you have? What can we leverage? How can we accelerate this whole piece? So if I were to take a step back and say, what's the journey a client would go through? And I'm going to talk about a couple of examples also. The first is you've got to educate. We as AI practitioners, leaders, have to make sure that we deliver the right kind of education to clients at all levels. I personally spend my time talking to board members. I have a fun job. I talk to board members. They say, what are the kind of questions we should ask the CEOs? I tell them what questions to ask. Then I go and talk to CEOs and say, hey, what kind of questions should we expect our board members to ask us? Well, I know something about that. And then they say, what should our CFOs and CIOs be focusing on? There you go. And then I go and talk to the CFOs and CIOs. It's a fun job, I'm telling you. Then you've got to start exploring what you can do. And take it forward and take a step forward and say, we're going to design something that's going to be successful. You know, most of the focus today that you hear about in Gen AI is productivity. We're going to reduce costs. I'll share two examples. One of our clients, software products company, creates a new product, ready to launch, then has to wait 3 months for all the sales collateral to be ready, all the technical manuals to be ready in 23 different languages. We're working with them to reduce that 3-month cycle to 3 weeks. I'm hoping 3 days, but let's say 3 weeks right now. Just the ability to accelerate your speed to market is a huge upside. Absolutely huge, right? You got clients who are working on, we got 1,000 people call center. How do we take out 100 folks out of this? Oh, well, Gen AI can help, but then you've got to redesign your processes. You've got to redesign how you assist, and you have to train up all the folks. Oh, by the way, you still have 1,000 seats. Those seats won't disappear. So don't expect the cost of real estate, et cetera, to reduce if you still have that seats. You still have licenses. Somebody's got to work on that. So there's a bunch of things that need to get done to take it to the bottom line. I'll give you another example. Another client of ours working on extremely technical manuals, extremely technical information. A client called saying, 8 years back, we bought this from you. It's not working. What do I need to do? You needed someone with 16 years plus of experience to explore and come back in a week saying, here's the replacement part that is now available. It'll need to be added with A, B, C to make your circuit work. Fast forward to today, 2 hours, someone with 2 years of experience is able to come back with an answer. Huge amount of customer satisfaction. So what am I saying? As we are moving forward, 1, Gen AI is here. It's here to stay. We have to embrace it. 2, it can give us productivity benefits, but also upside on sales, revenue. 3, you only get the real taste of it when you drive it at scale. Thank you.